Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive all about AI frontiers. Today we'll be looking at how AI is changing the world from the ground up to the courtroom and even to the devices we use every day.
AI is popping up in so many areas, and it is wild to see how it is transforming every part of our lives.
For sure. So first up, let's talk about AI in geology. Researchers at the University of Cambridge have figured out how to use AI to make incredibly detailed maps just from satellite images.
Yeah, it's like having a robot geologist on your team.
Exactly.
And it's not just satellite images this AI is using.
Really?
Yeah, it's combining that data with traditional geological mapping and deep learning to analyze tons of data.
That's super cool. So how accurate are these maps? Are they actually useful?
Oh, absolutely. There was this paper that came out recently called AI-driven geological feature recognition from satellite imagery, and it showed that this AI model is crazy accurate.
Okay, how accurate are we talking?
Over 95% accuracy in identifying and classifying geological features.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. This level of accuracy could totally change how we explore for resources.
That's a great point. It's like, imagine using this technology to find new mineral deposits or maybe even predict natural disasters like landslides.
Exactly. And it's not just about finding resources, it can also keep people safe and help us be more sustainable.
I see what you mean. I mean, faster and more efficient geological surveys could change everything from how cities are planned to how we protect the environment. It's kind of a big deal.
Totally. Okay, so we've talked about AI underground.
Right.
Now let's shift gears and head into the courtroom.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. What's happening in the legal world with AI?
Well, there's this groundbreaking tool called LexiLaw AI that is shaking things up in a big way.
LexiLaw AI. Okay, I've heard that name before, but I don't really know much about it. What is it exactly?
It's a great example of how natural language processing, which is a type of AI, is transforming how things work. So
Hmm.
think about it. Lawyers spend hours and hours drafting documents, researching case law, and trying to figure out how cases might turn out.
Yeah, it's a ton of work.
Right, well, LexiLaw AI can do a lot of that stuff for them.
Oh, wow.
So it makes legal practices way more efficient.
That makes sense. And it could potentially make legal help more accessible for people who can't afford to hire expensive lawyers.
Exactly.
That's a huge benefit. I mean, imagine preparing for a complex legal case, and instead of spending weeks going through mountains of documents, Lexilaw AI can analyze years of case law in just minutes.
It's crazy how much time it can save.
And it can find legal precedents you might have missed otherwise. That's got to be a big advantage in court.
It's a seriously powerful tool, and it's going to change how the legal field works, no doubt. But it also brings up some important questions.
Like what?
Well, how do we make sure things are still fair and transparent when AI is making more and more decisions in legal cases?
That's a good point. I mean, as AI takes on these bigger roles, we have to be really careful about how we develop and use it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've gone underground and to the courtroom.
Now, where are we headed?
Now, let's jump into something you use every day, your devices.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the AI connection there?
It's all about TensorFlow 4.0 and this really cool thing called edge computing.
TensorFlow 4.0, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's been generating a lot of buzz, especially with its focus on federated learning.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that. What is federated learning?
It's a game changer, honestly. It basically allows AI models to be trained on data from tons of devices without that data ever leaving those devices.
Wait, so instead of sending all my data to some big server somewhere, AI can learn from the data on my phone or laptop directly?
Exactly.
That's amazing. Wouldn't that make things way more private and secure?
It would, and it does. And because the data is processed locally, it reduces latency, meaning AI applications can respond much faster. That's a big deal for things like self-driving cars that need to make decisions in real time.
That makes sense. So it seems like with TensorFlow 4.0 and this move towards edge computing, AI is becoming more personal and accessible than ever. It's like we're moving towards a future where AI isn't just in some far-off data center, it's right in our pockets.
That's exactly where things are headed, and it's super exciting.
I agree, and I think it's only going to get more exciting from here.
Definitely. It's crazy how AI is showing up in places you'd never expect. Like, did you know the Louvre is using AI to restore paintings?
The Louvre? Really? That's amazing. But how does that even work?
Well, they're using AI to help figure out the best way to restore old artwork. So the AI can analyze a painting that's hundreds of years old and find any damage and then suggest the best way to fix it. It's like having a super smart art restorer on hand.
That's incredible. That's like having centuries of knowledge at your fingertips. What other creative fields could AI change like this?
That's a great question. I mean, we're already seeing AI being used to compose music, write stories, and even make films. It's really pushing the limits of what's possible in art. And another area where AI is changing the game,
Hmm, tell me.
adaptive learning.
Adaptive learning. That sounds interesting. What is that?
It's all about making education fit each student. Imagine a world where every student gets a personalized education tailored to their needs and how they learn best.
Wow, that would be amazing. Is that even possible?
It's getting closer. There's this app called EduAdapt that uses AI to change educational content in real time.
Oh, cool. How does it work?
The AI tracks how the student is doing and figures out if they're struggling or doing well, and then it adjusts the lessons to match. So it can change how hard the lessons are, the type of content, and even how fast the lessons go.
So it's like every student gets their own personal tutor.
You could say that. And the cool thing is, early results show that it's actually working. Test scores are going up and students are more engaged.
That's incredible. This could totally revolutionize education and make it better for everyone. And it makes me think about how AI can make resources and opportunities available to everyone.
You got it. But like with any powerful tool we have, to be careful with AI. We talked about transparency in legal AI, right?
Well,
Well,
yes.
that's important for all AI applications. We need to make sure AI is fair and doesn't have any bias, especially in something like education that can have a huge impact on a student's life.
Absolutely. We can't get so caught up in all the cool things AI can do that we forget about the ethical side of things.
Exactly. Okay, so before we were talking about TensorFlow 4.0 and edge computing,
Right.
I think it would be cool to dig a little deeper into that.
Yeah, let's do it. Remind me again, what is edge computing?
Remember, it's all about bringing AI processing power right to your devices. So instead of your data going to a server somewhere, the AI does its work right there on your phone, laptop, or even your car.
Right, right. So my data stays on my device.
Exactly.
And what are the benefits of that?
Well, first off, it's way better for privacy. Your data isn't floating around out there, so it's less likely to be hacked.
That's a big deal these days with all the data breaches happening. What else?
It also makes things faster because the AI doesn't have to wait for data to travel back and forth. So remember we talked about self-driving cars needing to make quick decisions?
Hmm.
Well, edge computing makes that kind of real-time responsiveness possible.
So it's like having the power of AI right there in your hand.
That's the idea. It opens up so many possibilities for AI experiences that are faster, more secure, and really personalized.
It's amazing to think about how much edge computing could change things.
Yeah,
It
that's
seems like
true.
it could really change how we use AI and how it fits into our lives.
Oh, for sure. It's a game changer. Okay, so we've talked about all these cool advancements, but there's one more thing we need to talk about. AI regulation.
You're right. We can't talk about AI without talking about how we're going to manage this powerful technology. I
Yeah.
mean, the U.S. Congress is already working on a bill to regulate AI in self-driving cars. But what about all the other areas where AI is being used?
Well, the tricky part is finding a balance. We want to encourage all the incredible innovation that's happening with AI because it could really help solve some of the world's biggest
I
problems.
get it. But we also need to make sure AI is used for good and doesn't create new problems or make existing inequalities worse.
You got it. And that's why it's so important to have open and honest conversations about AI regulation. We need everyone at the table, experts from different fields, policymakers, and everyday people.
It's a conversation that needs to happen everywhere, from international organizations to local communities. And it needs to keep going as AI changes and develops.
You're exactly right. There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to AI regulation. Different AI applications will need different rules and approaches. It's a complex landscape that we have to be very careful with to make sure AI is used in a good way.
It's a lot to think about, and it's changing all the time, which is why it's so important to stay informed and be part of the conversation. The future of AI is being decided right now, and we all have a role to play in making sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
Well said. And this brings us back to the idea of accessibility and democratization that we talked about earlier. AI has this incredible potential to level the playing field and give everyone a chance to succeed.
It's a really powerful idea. And I think it's something we need to keep in mind as we develop and use AI. It's about making sure everyone benefits from this amazing technology.
I totally agree. AI should be a force for good, something that helps people and makes the world a better place. And to do that, we need to be thoughtful, work together, and make sure that AI is developed and used in an ethical way.
So we've covered a ton of ground in this AI Frontiers deep dive.
We really have.
From geological mapping to legal help, we've seen how AI is changing the world all around us.
And we've talked about some super cool stuff driving these changes like TensorFlow 4.0 and edge computing that are making AI more powerful and personal.
It's been awesome to see how AI isn't just some idea for the future anymore. It's here, it's growing like crazy, and it's already making a real difference.
Yeah, it really is.
But as we move forward, we have to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used in good ways and bad ways.
You're absolutely right.
It can be used to create incredible things, but it can also be misused or have consequences that we don't expect.
Yeah, and that's why it's super important to keep talking about AI and to think carefully about how we regulate it.
I agree. We need to be asking the tough questions, considering different points of view, and making sure AI is developed and used responsibly.
And that responsibility isn't just on the scientists, engineers, or the people making the rules. This is something we all need to be thinking about.
It really is, because it's our future that's being shaped by all these changes.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. Imagine a world where we use AI to tackle some of humanity's biggest challenges, like climate change, poverty, and disease.
That's a powerful vision. And it feels like it could actually happen if we're smart about how we develop and use AI.
As AI rapidly evolves, it's crucial to consider not only the technological advancements, but also the ethical and regulatory implications. Where do you think AI is headed, and what excites or concerns you the most?
We want to know what you think. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow at AI for the People for more AI insights.
Join us tomorrow for another fascinating deep dive.